You scored a pretty big shorthanded goal in the playoffs, and I just remember coming off the couch, like losing my mind. The Flyers were down 5-3. I'll let you tell it, but I mean, that was one of the best shorthanded goals, and what a time to get it.
That's the one guys we talk about the most. When I see people in Philly, and I still do get back there often, that's what people will talk about. And it was a couple of different things. I'd broken two ribs in the second game of that series, and this was in game six. So I'd sat out games 3 and 4 and came back and played in five, getting nerve blocks, and then played in six. And in that series was all about Pelle Lindbergh, who was just phenomenal in that series. And that was the youngest team in pro sports that year. And we were a bunch of kids. I mean, you think of the ages. So Derek Smith and Zezel would have been 19 years old. Tocchet would have been 20. The twins were 20, Ronnie and Richie Sutter. Murray Craven might have been 21. He might have only been 20. I was just a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And, we ripped through the first couple of rounds, and now we were playing Quebec. And so up 1-0 in the game, second period, down 2 men. And I picked up a pass at the top of the circles in our end. So I had a breakaway literally for 3/4 of the ice. That's a really long way to skate.
And you were flying. And you were flying.
And way too long a time to think for a non-goal scorer.
Right. I was going to ask you that.
Oh, man. Well, Murray Craven, I could hear his voice just ingrained in my head about going upstairs. You got to go upstairs. You got to go upstairs. And got a great shot up under the crossbar, and that made it 2-0. So essentially a 2-goal swing, because at 5-3 they were looking to maybe go up 2-1 in the game.
Right.
And had they won it, they were going home for game 7. So, but I think the biggest thing about the goal, we ended up winning that game 3-0. The biggest thing about the goal, we were going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we were going to the Stanley Cup Finals, and that night. It's a different feel. The first time you're going there, and I was able to go 3 times in my career, again in '87 and then in '90 with the Bruins. But man, the first time you're going to play for the Stanley Cup, the thoughts that go through your head, it's a crazy thought process. It really is.
Yeah, it was amazing, and it's funny you brought up the ribs. My dad was telling me about the needle they were putting in your ribs for the nerve block. And he's like, they put you in a chair and you kind of sit there, and this needle was kind of like not rubber, but it moved, so they'd have to get up under his rib cage.
Oh man.
And he said he would just be a puddle, just sweating. But he's like, sometimes it could take 10 to 15 minutes or it could take 30 minutes. So I guess trying to get it in there, you would know better than me, but
yeah, it wasn't very good.